So, as we all know, trinkets like the Faulty Countermeasure and Horn of Valor are absolutely ideal for Retribution Paladins because they are unused trinkets which line up all the time with our major DPS cooldown. Has a 2-minute cooldown which just so happens to coincide with our Avenging Wrath, or more usually Crusade, because that's the talent we always take. But what happens when the duration, which is also very kindly set at 30 seconds, doesn't equal the duration of our Crusade? Now, I'm in the slightly fortunate position at the moment, if you'll call it that, of having 3 relics which all boost my Crusade duration, the Wrath of the Ashbringer. So I've got 6 traits in Wrath of the Ashbringer. So the standard baseline duration would be 27.5 seconds. If you have 1 relic that boosts it, that's a nice round 30 seconds. Everything lines up. You can macro your Faulty Countermeasure or Horn of Valor. Don't take both, of course. To it, you fire and forget, don't have to worry about it. But what happens when you've got another 1 or even 2 and your duration is now 35 seconds? Well, you could say, well, you're not going to be able to have it for the whole duration, so we can still just macro it and we'll just miss out on the last 5 seconds. Yes, you can. It is worth noting at this point, by the way, that if you look at logs of the top performing Retribution Paladins, there are actually quite a lot who clearly are still macroing it, where their Horn of Valor or Faulty Countermeasure is starting at the exact same time as their Crusade. So what I'm going to say here, although it sounds like min-maxing and we're going to get a lot of extra damage out of it, the actual results suggest we don't necessarily get a lot of extra damage from it, but inevitably we are getting some if we do it right. Because the first few seconds of Crusade, in fact potentially the first 10 seconds of Crusade, is not at full strength. We're having to build up the stacks to get it to 15 stacks. That is when it's its most powerful. So if we had a choice, it would be better to have, in my case, Horn of Valor, but also Faulty Countermeasure, active during the last 30 seconds of Crusade rather than the first 30 seconds. So in general, what you want to be doing is when you go in for to start a fight, pop Crusade, but not pop in Horn of Valor just yet. We want to do that a few seconds in. Now, that seems fine on the face of it. Are we going to be counting seconds in or not? Count to 5, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, or elephant, or whatever you choose to say. But then on a fight, there might be other things to think of as well. You could easily get it slightly wrong. So what I'm going to show you is what I've done as a little reminder here, as soon as I'm out of combat, which I think I am now. So I've created a couple of icons here. So this one, you didn't see it flag up there because I just pressed it a bit early. What this one does, I show here, I use Tell Me When, by the way. If you know how to use weak auras, of course, a lot of people prefer weak auras. For me, Tell Me When is a much simpler way to do things. If you're not sure about Tell Me When at all, I did do a video on it, which is in my add-ons playlist. If you go rooting around in my playlist, you'll see an add-ons playlist. Tell Me When is in there. So what we have here are the, first of all, Tell Me When for the Horn of Valor. So I've set it as item cooldown and then typed in, of course, Horn of Valor. That's the actual item. Only if equipped. Obviously, if I change to a different trinket for whatever reason, I don't want this flagging up. That would be of no use to me whatsoever. And it's only going to show when it's ready, not when it's not ready, not when it fails the conditions, because, of course, we need to set some conditions. So the first condition I have set is remaining duration on Crusade being 31 seconds. So it starts off, you've got like 35 seconds of Crusade when you pop it. What you ideally want to do is to use the trinket when it's at 30 seconds. So I get it to do at 31 seconds. That's a second early, so that I can see it flag up and then I can hit the keybind that uses it. And that should give me pretty close, if not exactly, the same as the 30 seconds there. The other condition I've put in is, again, it's at both of these are buff durations and both of them are for Crusade, but this one greater than 0 seconds. I obviously don't want this showing up when Crusade isn't even active, and this is just a quick way by here. And I've ticked the box in each case, only cast by me. So that's personally the way I've done that. Now when it comes to the second icon here, this is for Potion of the Old War. As much as many people might like to think prolonged power potions are pretty good, in theory, you'd think so. I mean, the problem with Potion of the Old War is it you know, 25-second duration in a 35-second duration DPS cooldown doesn't sound like it should do as much in theory, especially on the first use, especially on the pull, where you need to pop it a second or two before you even pop those cooldowns, potentially several seconds. I mean, the way I do it first, I don't use Wake to begin with, but more on that in a video I'm going to do later this week. But I do use Old War. I've sort of tried both out. I'm getting more damage from Potion of the Old War, so I use this one. So if right click that, it's another item cooldown, this time Potion of the Old War. Make sure you're spelling it correctly. Only if in bags, so it doesn't pop up if I don't even have any in my bags. I always do, but you know, there you go. A similar sort of thing. So failed condition hidden, not ready hidden, only when ready. But again, conditions and almost identical condition before. Both of it buff duration. Make sure it's on the player. Should have said that before. This time less than or equal to 26 seconds duration, because I want to hit it with 25 seconds left. So I give myself a second's grace there. You could even get away with saying 27 if you just want to err on the side of caution. To be honest, with something like Potion of the Old War, it doesn't take ages and ages to build up your stacks, hopefully. So you might be able to get it. You don't have to do it in the very last 25 seconds, but you want to make sure that it's covering the latter part of it, really, when you've got full stacks. And similar sort of thing with Crusade. I'm at least making sure that it is active, that the actual duration, it has some duration. So those are the two conditions I use for that. And that's how I deal with the fact that I have 35 seconds of a DPS cooldown, where it gets more powerful the further we go into it, to a certain limit, of course, to make sure that I am maximizing my on-use trinket as well as potions when I choose to use it with that as well. Obviously, with the potion, that is the one time you'll use Crusade after the pull, because on the pull, of course, you're going to pre-pot with that. So I hope you found that useful. I hope you found it interesting. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. I'm going to be doing another video this weekend, which is going to be on how different legendaries and certain trinkets change our DPS priority system. But until then, I'll see you later.